welcome to today's race, and welcome to me being out of my comfort zone driving a GT3 car. Now, I am normally a prototype driver and I have some experience in these cars, so hopefully that's going to be enough for today's race. So this is a close field as I'm 2.7k in what is nearly a 3k field. So a lot of these drivers around me have certainly got a lot more experience than I have. So we will see how we can do, and so far so good. The start has been clean with no incidents or cars going off, but we are now being challenged by this BMW behind us, and that is certainly a lot faster than I am in the straight, it seems. I'm not going to fight around the outside, not that you really can do in this first right-hander coming up, so I'm going to brake a bit early and give him the corner. Again, just planning to stay safe as possible and find my way through this field and hopefully avoid any incidents that might occur, because these cold tyres do catch people out. And we have our first yellow there. It's like someone caught the wall, which slowed everyone up. We stayed to the left hand side just trying to avoid any incident, and that has actually given us the position back on that BMW, who slowed up a lot more than we did. But it is certainly not going to be over yet, as we're coming up through the last of the hill section here on these cold tyres. You can see just how much I'm having to lift in the Porsche just to make sure I'm going to be nice and safe down this next section. And here we are through the skyline, coming down the hill for the first time, really watching the cars ahead of me more than I'm watching my own, just in case something is going to happen. But again, so far so good. Everyone is really keeping it clean, and as we come through the forest elbow for the first time, such a critical corner, we managed to get a good exit. But we did see the BMW behind us in that rear view mirror caught the outside wall, so hopefully he's not taking any serious damage as we come racing down this nice long back stretch after the hill section. This is where the slipstream into this next chicane is going to mean that some people might start looking to make a move, so we'll watch the cars ahead. And there we go, we've got a Ferrari off to the outside and this Porsche very slow on the inside curb. I'm just going to stay to his outside, and that actually gives us two positions there from that Ferrari and the Porsche. It's certainly not bad for an opening lap here at Bathurst, really only one incident. So we just need to settle in now behind this Audi ahead of us, and we might just stand a chance in this race yet. Now we'll have a look again at that incident coming into the chicane from the back stretch. We're first having a look at this Ford, which is what seemed to really slow everyone up. Goes into the back of that Ferrari ahead of him, which then causes that concertina effect, which the Ferrari tried to avoid. And you can see how fast this guy was coming down the back stretch, carrying all that speed. But he did miss his braking point, but he does exceptionally well there to avoid all those cars in front of him from causing a greater accident than that could have been. And with cars still coming past him, he does as well make a safe rejoin, so credit to him. But back onto our race, and we're a little bit further ahead now, just having followed Vlad's Audi ahead of us. And we now have Vitinov caught back up to us for company, so we are a bit sandwiched here between the other two cars. So I just need to make sure I have good awareness in case something happens, otherwise we're going to end up getting really caught up in it here. It's always so dangerous coming up the hill here at Bathurst, but it is so rewarding, especially when you can do it in such a close group like we are doing here. And it's helped by the fact the tyres are starting to come back up to temperature now, though they're not quite there yet, so I'm still having some confidence lifts. Just making sure I'm matching the sort of distance to the cars in front of us as we come down the hill now for the second time. Trying to really nail that left there and get on the power. It's crucial to your lap time. And again here at the forest elbow, you can see the ABS light in purple there fighting me to make sure I don't lock up. But we do well enough on the exit, and you can see Vitinov also hit that outside corner there, which gives us a bit more space. Now down the back stretch, I'm not going to be close enough for any sort of move on Vlad ahead of us, so I just need to watch if there's going to be something happening between the Mustang and the Ferrari like the previous lap. But they're still keeping in a single file for now. We just need to stay tucked in then with them as Vlad goes wide onto the grass there. Not really cost him any time, but he has stayed partly defensive, so I just need to make sure I nail the corner. But I do catch that inside curb there, which lifts the car and unsettles it. I have to have a big lift to avoid losing the rear end, and that's going to give Vitanov the position back, and then not help because I go wide here, losing myself on that corner, which lets him start pulling away from us on the front straight. Now for the keen-eyed among you, you'll have seen there was a BMW with a meatball flag, and this is what happened to him. He got caught by that Acura coming up through the cutting, which gave him the meatball, but he didn't seem to be too slowed up by it. However, this Acura really seemed to have taken some damage, because coming up towards the skyline here is going to understeer heavily, go off the track and straight into that barrier. Mercedes and that Ferrari having a very brown flag moment as he came across the track at them. And he slides all the way down the S's before finally coming to a stop. It didn't take long for us though to catch up to the cars ahead. As you can see, they're going both too wide into the cutting, just about getting themselves sorted out as they come through that left-hand corner. Then there's some contact again ahead and the two start checking up, so we have to do the same to avoid an incident. No real way past them there just because of how narrow it is with no runoff on this track. Really leaves very little room for error in this sort of fighting, so you just have to be careful when you're coming up to them. We've at least got a good gap to the cars behind those, so I have plenty of opportunity to slow up as I need to. Everyone seems to have settled back down now as we're coming down through the S's. Just need to make sure I can now stay in contact and not make any more mistakes. As you can see, Vitanov going wide there. Looks like he's managed to gather it up. I don't get the best of exits myself there. So difficult fighting that ABS to make sure you reach that late apex. But we are still just about in the slipstream and the Porsche is still no slouch here. I'm not going to be close enough for a move, but I'm going to be far enough away in case they start fighting again coming into the chicane. And it looks like once more it is staying rather safe and clean between them, though the Ferrari's going off to the right, so I'm going to go over the curve there just to make sure I've got a safe distance. And that looks like Cho has gone off there, unfortunately for him. We'll have a look at what happened between the Mustang and the Ferrari here. That might tell us of exactly what caused that incident, and you can see the Ferrari is very slippery there. Looks like they've either overcooked their tyres or they might have taken some damage on those previous laps. So the Mustang has a look around the outside there, but he does get closed off a little bit by the Ferrari. Then they go over the curb, which really seems to unsettle them, and the poor Mustang driver here didn't really have a chance to respond. Now we're going to be looking to see if there was any sort of contact, and it does look like that Ferrari just about taps the back of the Mustang, and potentially that damage caused them to lose the rear once again. Now we rejoin onto lap 5. It has really just been a case of following the pack ahead of us for now, making sure I don't hit the wall myself here, because we are still doing quite well. And we've got a yellow flag car off ahead of us, and we can see the Corvette slowly rejoining here. But we've got a good exit and we've got a lot more momentum, so we're definitely going to get past him here on this back straight. He doesn't look to have any serious damage there, so he might have just lost the rear coming through the forest elbow, which is quite easily done here. He's not going to be close enough for a move into the chicane, so we are going to be safe and up yet another position now into P12. Philip is certainly a fast driver around here, so I'm now going to start feeling some pressure as I go wide there, really struggling with that last corner, which is not good here. Philip's going to poke his nose down the inside, so I'm just going to try and break it late and go around the outside there. Philip does really well to not drift out too wide, and I make sure I give him plenty of space on that inside. So it's a nice little bit of a fight between us, but it has now cost some more time to the pack ahead. However, we managed to start clawing back some of that time over the course of the lap. As you can see, myself and Philip right behind me here as we're coming down through the S's, following the cars in front. Philip had a look into the forest elbow there, but I was able to fend him off and get a good enough exit to not worry down that back straight. That gave me a good position to start watching the cars in front start fighting themselves coming into the chicane. Looks like the Audi making a move down the inside, a bit of door banging between him and the Mustang, but that gives him the outside, which will then turn to the inside, coming into this last corner with the Porsche right behind, ready to capitalize on any mistake. And you can see he's able to get ahead, and the Porsche then follows him now side by side, coming along across the start finish line. Going to see if he's going to be able to make it down that inside coming into turn one, and he has done it. That puts both of those up in front of that Mustang now, and we're not too far behind, having capitalized on that time loss with them all fighting ahead of us. It still took at least half a lap though, as we finally caught back up to Jack in that Mustang, and we can see coming into the last corner he goes a bit deep, and so do we, but that's now put us right underneath that massive wang that exists on that Mustang. You can see my little Porsche is dwarfed by how big that muscle car is. And I'm not really going to have much of a chance now coming down this front straight here. We're going to see, even with the damage that he's carrying, Jack is a lot faster than we are. So we're just going to have to simply make sure we stay close enough behind to capitalize on any mistake he's going to make, because we can see the damage he is carrying. And that's really starting to unsettle his car. I still got to be wary because Philip is right behind us too. So if I get caught up in anything that happens with Jack, Philip is going to be there right behind us. Jack has a bit of a wiggle there coming up through the cutting. I have to really check up a bit myself just to make sure I don't go into the back of him.
That's half fuel. You've used half your fuel.
I'm just really biding my time now, watching him move through here. You see he has a bit of a wiggle and goes into the wall. I'm not sure if that was netco, but his car just seems to be really unsettled now, so I'd rather leave a bit of a gap here just in case something happens. And now we're coming down through the S's. However, we have managed to catch up to the two cars ahead of us, which is going to be annoying, as I might have stood a chance against Jack if he didn't have the slipstream of that Audi in front of him. However, he has a big wiggle once again coming out of the elbow, so I now have a good opportunity here, tucked right underneath that wing on the Mustang. You can see though, even with the slipstream, I'm barely gaining on him here. However, I'm able to now draw alongside as he defends the outside here, wanting the inside coming into the chase. So I'm going to have to brake as late as I dare now in the Porsche and turn in late, trying to leave the space. But unfortunately, it seems we do come together there. I'm thankfully able to rejoin. I don't feel any damage on the car. However, we now have a Ferrari coming up quick behind us. So I need to get my act back together quickly here, otherwise I might lose another position. Brake a bit late there and still carry on what are probably overcooked tyres, but we are able to defend the position from that Ferrari. So we'll review what just happened between me and Jack. I felt I had left enough space and hadn't turned in too early there. As we're going to see as we slow things down here, I'm using the dark patch, which is the racing line which has been worn and rubbered in. I'm just trying to stay to the right of it here, but it looks like Jack had a bit of understeer which sent him wide into us. It was just a racing incident at the end. I didn't really have a chance to talk to Jack as he disconnected straight away afterwards, but I felt like I had left enough space. But if you feel different, let me know what you think in the comments. However, it was not over yet for Jack, as after that incident, Philip began challenging him here into turn one. Jack does well to see him off around the outside like we had done a lap earlier. However, the fight continued up the hill here, coming through that right-hander, though Jack did slow up on the apex, which it seems Philip did not take kindly to as he starts flashing him. And then coming into the cutting, Jack again goes very wide there, so Philip seizes the opportunity down the inside. However, he gets cut off and there is contact, and really a bit of an aggressive display there from Philip. Jack at least sensibly waits as we go past him along with several other GT3s. And unfortunately, with only one lap left to go, I did manage to catch up to Philip with the damage he was carrying, but I was unable to really get close enough to make any sort of move. But we're going to finish in P12, which is still a great finish considering this is one of my first races back in the GT3s, especially at such a challenging track like Mount Panorama. Still, I found this really fun, and hopefully you too have enjoyed today's little bit of carnage. So please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the race, and I'll hopefully see you again next time.